everyone, welcome back to another episode of J-Syd InstaLive, hosted by the Consulate-General of Japan in Sydney, right here on Instagram. My name is Jessica and I am your host guiding you through our series today. And in case you missed our very first premiere episode where I had a fantastic chat with our very own Consul-General, Kia Masahiko, I highly recommend that you go back through our Instagram account page where you can find our IGT video there and watch that one. So today I am very excited to be bringing on and chatting with the President of JETAA New South Wales, Miss Ashlie O'Neill. So give me a few seconds while I invite her to come on and join me.
Us any second now.
Hi, Jess.
Hi, Ashley.
Hi. How you going?
Yeah, good. Long time no see.
Good.
Well,
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it feels like a long time no see, but it's not really that long.
No. Well, I mean, it's been a while since I've seen you in person.
Yes, no, that's true. That's true. But we've caught up a few times over things like Zoom and stuff. So, yeah. So it hasn't been that long since I've seen your face, but
No.
so anyway, you're the president of JETAA New South Wales.
I am.
You are fantastic. So for people who have absolutely no idea what JETAA New South Wales is, can you give us a brief rundown?
Yeah, of course. So for the Japan Exchange and Teaching Program, that's run from the Japanese government as an educational program where they send teachers and international representatives over to Japan. We are the alumni association for people who have both left New South Wales and have come back to New South Wales. So some of our members are actually from America or all over the world, really, and then they come back to Sydney and then they become members of our alumni association.
Right, so it's not just for people who have been on the program from Sydney specifically or New South Wales. It's basically anyone who's been on the program. It doesn't matter what country they're from.
No, not at all. So basically we're happy to accept everyone. Anyone interested in being a part of us.
What about people who haven't been on the JET program?
Yeah,
are they able to join along?
So for people who haven't been on the JET program, they're more than welcome to come to most of our events. For people interested in going on the JET program, we run like information sessions that they might be interested in finding out more from us. We do drinks every Wednesday night on Zoom at the moment called Hump Day Drinks, and anyone is welcome to come along to that and join us if they're interested for a chat, given that everyone's quite isolated at the moment. So everyone is welcome.
Fantastic. Yes, I've been to a few of the events, being a JETAA committee member myself. Unfortunately, I don't come along to as many of the Hump Day drink nights as I would like to, but maybe, what day are we? Friday, maybe next week.
Yeah, maybe. Well, you're a busy lady.
We're all busy people. But yeah, so how long have you been the president for?
So I've been the president, this is my second year as president of JETAA New South Wales. Prior to that, I was the event coordinator for 2 years. So since I came back in 2016, I've been involved with JETAA New South Wales. And I think that for people who've been on the JET program or even just lived in Japan and come back, reverse culture shock is shocking. So I think it's a really good way to kind of, for me, it was really good to have a community of people who knew a lot about Japan and can kind of, I could talk about my experiences with. So for me, that's one of the big reasons that I joined. It was a community that wanted to hear all about my stories with Japan. And I'm still here.
Yeah, obviously you love it because, you know, you joined it when you came back and you haven't left, you've just kept going.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I think one of the big things about JETAA is just New South Wales isn't the only one in the world. There are ones all around the world. So I was the chair of JETAA International for 2 years and the vice chair for 2 years as well. So I learned a lot about all the different JETAA chapters around the world, and they're in all different countries, all different cities. And I think that it's such a big organization, but such a great network. So I think that I'll probably be involved for quite some time.
That's awesome to hear. Myself being a recent JET returnee, I've only just gotten into JETAA, but I'm also hoping to be able to continue being a part of this for a while as well.
We would love that.
Yeah. What is JETAA's current hashtag? I think it sums it up pretty well.
It's either once a Jet, always a Jet, or gosh, what is it? Jet Life? I can't remember. It's on our t-shirts.
It's on t-shirts, and we've forgotten. We've only recently made the t-shirts, so that's right.
I think it's Jet for Life. Is my
yes, that sounds right.
Because once you join the Jet program, you're a Jet for Life. It's going to be something, I think, for a lot of people that kind of guides their decisions in their careers, or is always going to be a fond memory. And I think that's so Jets for Life. You start and then you never leave.
You never leave. Yes, well, the JETAA is always here, obviously, to welcome people, and you never leave that Jet life. But speaking of Jet, why don't you tell us a little bit more about your experience? So, where exactly were you placed on the Jet program?
So I was placed in a prefecture called Hyogo Prefecture, and a lot of people, when I say I was in Hyogo Prefecture, they say, well, where's that? So it sits somewhere between picking major kind of places. Most people have done the Shinkansen line that goes from Osaka to Hiroshima, so it's in the middle of there, Hyogo Prefecture, and it's the home of Himeji Castle and Kobe, and Tajima region, which is known for Tajima beef. So it's a very big prefecture, one of the biggest, but I think it was probably personally one of the best as well.
Well, I'm so sorry to disagree with you there, but I personally think that where I was based, up in Akita Prefecture, that's in the north, the topmost of the main island of Japan. Akita Prefecture, I think that's personally the best.
Yeah, I think everyone, that's a big thing at Jet, or part of Jet life, is debating which prefecture is the best. And I think that usually it's the one you lived in. So for me, it's Hyogo.
Yeah.
But Jez,
that's too true. So you mentioned a few of the things that Hyogo is famous for. What did you get involved in? What did you do while you were there? How long were you on the program, actually? We haven't established that.
I was there for 3 years, from 2013 to 2016. And the things I did, well, as my job, I was a senior high school English teacher. And it was a great senior high school. I had very intelligent students, but also very high energy students, which was excellent to work with. I thought it was fantastic. So I was a high school ALT, which meant that I got to do really fun things like, we did the science experiments where you try and build the egg case out of, I think it's egg carton and paper and all types of whatever you can get your hands on, and then throw it off a two-floor building and see which one survived. And I know a lot of people are probably thinking, wait, that's science, that's not English. But we did the entire experiment and creation of the experiment and reports afterwards all in English. So I kind of tricked them into thinking that English is fine. That was my job, tricking people into, enjoying English without them realizing. So I did that type of stuff. It was.
That's definitely true. That whole tricking people, tricking your school kids into thinking that English is cool. That English is used outside of the English classroom.
Absolutely, it's not just kind of grammar and vocab. It's kind of something that, you can use in everyday life in things that you're interested in. So, we did try to do everything so that people who learnt in different ways could get involved. So we did dramas, we did, oh gosh, we did advertisement videos, we tried to, songs, dances, whatever would kind of catch the attention of that class at the time, cooking classes, because I think that's kind of half the battle is getting the kids involved or interested in learning English. And then once they are interested in learning English, the teaching is much easier, I think.
So I also have to agree with you there. I wasn't teaching senior high school students, so your experience is a little bit different to mine.
Yeah.
Because I was primarily based teaching junior high school students.
Yes.
At one junior high school. I know that some people in the JET program, they go around to multiple schools. They don't really have a base.
Yes.
Yeah, but. Yeah. Yeah, I know in junior high school, unfortunately, I wasn't involved in any science experiments where I'm throwing things off of our second story floor.
I think it was unique a little bit.
Yeah, but yeah, we did have a lot of like school clubs that I used to go around to. Did you pop your head into any of those while you were there?
Yeah, I think that, so I was in charge of the English club, and again, we just kind of found ways to make English more accessible and more fun outside of the classroom. I don't know, sometimes we just all sat there and talked in English about whatever was kind of the theme of the day. But I loved doing my English club, and I'm still in contact with a lot of my students from it, which I'm very thankful that I got to teach them and learn so much about them. But I also, outside of that and outside of like kind of my work obligations, I would try and kind of follow the noises around the school and pop my head in to kind of shocked faces of students being like, Ashlie Sensei. So some of the ones I went to, broadcasting club, we actually had the best broadcasting club in Japan. One of the years I was there, they won a big award, which was pretty cool. Going to the choir, those students were just the sweetest people.
Sorry, I
was
seem to have the internet connection there.
Am I back? Sorry.
Sorry, your internet connection cut out just a little bit before, but that's okay.
That's okay.
You're talking about choir?
Yes. Sorry, I just noticed that one of my English club girls are actually listening right now. So Yoshimi's just joined in on the live. Hi, Yoshimi.
Wonderful.
So she's
nice to meet you.
So I went to choir club, and I was quite involved in the baseball club. They considered me to be their lucky charm. So I would go around and
actually ever hit a baseball?
Did I ever hit a No, they didn't want that. No one wants that. I'm terrible at baseball.
Yeah,
but I'm very glad to support it.
Yeah, I know that my softball girls, when they were practicing, I think one time I used to support them because they would be practicing outside of the school and I'd be walking home. But I think I had to go once, and it was bad. I'm not coordinated enough when it comes to bats. Even cricket in high school, I wasn't very good at that. But I did a few times shoot some hoops with my basketball boys. We actually had a really good basketball team. They were quite strong, and they went down to, I believe it was for nationals, and they went down to Okinawa, I think, from memory, to compete there.
It would be worth.
I was terrible at basketball too, but they were so supportive.
Yeah. That's cool. I think I remember doing a video because, again, I was really lucky with the school I had. All of my co-workers were like pretty supportive. So for Bunkasai, the school festival one year, every year my English club and I would make like a video. It was meant to be like a viral video, but of course we can't share it online. But one year we did one to, was it Fortune Cookie or Happy by Pharrell? It might have been really popular at that moment, but basically we went around to all of the clubs and they all did their club thing in the video, as well as like dancing and things. And that was like really fun to do as well.
Yeah.
I always look at those videos and have a bit of a giggle. Teachers like flying down the hallways on
that's lovely that you have
like that. It's pretty good.
Where you guys are doing stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we've talked a little bit about like your school experience and your work.
Yes.
But how about we move outside of the school grounds for a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
What did you get up to? You were there for 3 years. Like, is there anything that stands out to you? I know this is a difficult question.
Out to me. I think that one of the big things, and I don't think I'm alone in this, I did was travel. I traveled almost every travel. I think I've been to lectures in Japan now as a result of it. And then I would kind of come back and use it in my English class just to relate back to work there. But I also involved with my prefecture AJET, so the Association for the Japan Exchange and Teaching people who are currently on the program. So we did a lot of events and things through that, which was really fun. And I also was involved in National AJET. So I held a variety of positions in that. If you haven't worked it out yet, I have a problem. I keep volunteering for things. It's what I do. So I did National AJET, and
There's never any problem volunteering for.
I love volunteering.
You can get your hands on.
It's great volunteering stuff. It's the good. So I did a lot of representing kind of current JET program participants to the government in opinion exchanges and things when I was Director of Alumni Relations and the block representative for Block 6, and also when I was the Vice Chair for a little while as well. Sorry?
What does Block 6 include? What prefectures are in Block 6?
That was Hyogo, Kyoto, and Shiga. So, you know, the best block. Again, not competitive or anything, but...
Not competitive at all. Actually, I feel bad. I can't remember whether we were included in Block 1 or whether we were in Block 2.
You were. I'm pretty confident you're included in Block 1. I think it was, yeah. I think it's Block 1. Maybe Hokkaido, Aomori, Akita, but I could be wrong. I don't.
Yeah, I have a feeling that we were with Hokkaido. Yeah, because the JET program sort of splits. There's 47 prefectures in Japan. Is that correct? My geography is really bad.
Yeah. Is it 46? Yeah. 47?
Whatever
you say.
The country. I think there's 46 prefectures, and like Hokkaido is its own
thing.
I'm really bad at geography. Don't ask me. But anyway, so you did a whole bunch of volunteering while you were in Japan. You've done a whole bunch of volunteering when you've come back. So coming back, because you said earlier in our conversation that like reverse culture shock is shocking. What was something that you found like reverse culture shock?
I think one of the biggest things that am I here? Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm currently at a place called Culburra Beach for a few days with my family, and the reception isn't great, so I apologize. I am on the Wi-Fi, but it apparently keeps cutting out, so I apologize for that.
Okay.
So yeah,
that's something I miss about Japan is Japanese Wi-Fi.
The Wi-Fi. I agree 100% with you there. I think the thing I found maybe the hardest when I got back was I felt like I kind of lost a bit of independence, because coming back, I moved back in with my family, and because I'd spent all my money in Japan traveling. Don't regret it, not a bit. But also I'm from the Hawkesbury, which is kind of about 2 hours outside of Sydney, and you have to drive everywhere. At first I didn't have a car. And then kind of to get to work every day was a really long trip, and it was just, I think that living on your own for 3 years and then kind of having to kind of move back to somewhere a lot more rural, and then living with other people was a bit of a shock for me, I think. And then also I very much missed the Japanese transportation, because in the Hawkesbury there are train stations, but
your car situation. Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Sorry, the connection's a little bit bad here. I think I've accidentally talked over you.
Oh no.
Sorry, Ash, we dropped connection there for a little bit.
I'm sorry.
Unfortunately, quite able to make out what you were saying before. But I 100% agree with the reverse culture shock in terms of not having a vehicle.
Yes.
I'm not originally from Sydney. I was from somewhere that was a bit smaller, and that having a car was super important, and I didn't have one. Oh,
Yeah,
oh no.
it's hard, I think, and oh no. Let me try. I'm just going to take the white.
No worries. I'll let you
Onto my
try and
mobile.
test that one,
I'm
and
not
maybe
sure.
switch to mobile internet if that's
There
any
we go.
better.
That actually might be better, believe it or not. I'm not
Okay.
sure.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed it's a little bit
Apologies,
better.
everybody.
But yeah, so we talked about reverse culture shock. What about actual culture shock? You know, going from Australia to Japan. Is there anything that stands out to you where you went, oh my goodness, what?
Oh gosh. I think I was reasonably lucky because I've been to Japan multiple times before, so I was kind of ready for most of the things. I think it didn't quite hit me, I think, like a lot of other people, but you know what? Culture shock usually just hit me when I was trying to find some simple Australian food in my mind and it just didn't exist. Like, or even things like, you know, the different, like the Japanese and the Australian road rules are similar, except everyone in Japan drives slower and is very considerate
Really?
about other people. I think so.
I feel like everyone up north, it kind of took it as a bit of a guideline, the speed limit.
Yeah, I think in on some roads when I was going, you know, up to kind of like more country Inaka style areas, then that was people would drive more as a guideline for the what do you call it, speed limits. But I think in my area it was kind of more built up, so I think people couldn't go, you know, too fast because, you know, you would go and run into someone anyway. So no, I think that's something something that maybe kind of confused me at first, but I got used to it. And it was, I mean, I think that I never got stuck with culture shock as much as I thought I would. I think the first time I went when I was 15, it really hit me. But I think I was
What
pretty
about when you were
lucky.
15?
When I was 15, I think culture shock really just came in the fact that I didn't understand what was going on a lot of the time, and it was my first time I'd ever been internationally, and not understanding the language kind of felt quite isolating, I think. And of course, being a 15-year-old and having all of those feelings as well, I think that was a really hard thing to adjust to for me. But when I adjusted, I was fine. But, you know, it's culture shock's like a wave. You know, it's everything's great, and then everything's a little bit terrible, and then everything's great again. So I think that only took maybe a day when I was 15. So I was pretty lucky.
Oh, wow. That's a pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah. Pretty lucky. But I know it hits people in all types of ways.
Absolutely. Like, everyone is different. Everyone experiences culture shocks in different ways. I know that because previously I had done an exchange in Okinawa for a year, and then I came back on the JET program where I was based in Akita, and I was there for 2 years where I had a little bit more Japanese language behind me. So that really helped. But even with that, I would occasionally just find myself walking down the street. You know, those days where you're really tired, you've had a very long day, and I would sometimes catch myself thinking, goodness, I wish I could just see English around me. Like, I don't want to look at kanji anymore. My brain is
some days
fried.
it gets a bit, some days it gets, I think, a bit tiring to not be able to turn your brain off the same way you would be able to in Australia. I think that's absolutely a thing. And that definitely happened to me while I was over there a few times. I was just too tired, and, you know, or I was struggling with trying to communicate something, and it was just kind of like, oh man, like this is so hard, and it would be so much easier at home. But again, that's the point, isn't it? That it's not always easy. It's challenging, but that's what's good about it, you know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I find that you really grow from the experience as well. I remember, and this isn't on the JET program, this was me having a challenging experience back when I owned a car in Okinawa, and my Japanese language ability wasn't as great. And I was there fueling up, and I've noticed something on my car tire, and it looked bad. So then I've gone, because it was also a tire place, I conjoined like fuel and tire place, and I'm having to use my broken Japanese to try and understand.
Oh, me.
And I don't know cars. I don't know cars in English, let alone in Japanese. And we're having, I think it took about 40 minutes of us having this conversation, trying to work out. But the amount of satisfaction that I had at the end, where we finally understood each other and we were able to fix the problem, and I was able to drive out of there, and that was such a win.
That is absolutely, that's the satisfaction you get. Like, it's challenging, but at the end, when you pull through, it's worth it. Just keep going. Yeah. That's my advice. Just keep trying. Wave those arms. Just point to things until it happens.
Oh, yeah. So lastly, I just want to kind of, or maybe not lastly, I'm not sure, but about your jet experience. Coming back to Australia, you've been back for, what, 4 years now?
Yes, I worked that out the other day, and it made me a bit scared. Yeah, it's 4 years in August I will have been back, which is just mind-boggling, really. It feels like yesterday, but also a lifetime ago. So, yeah. It's a bit crazy.
Yeah. What's something you miss? I know for me that I really miss being able to go down to my local konbini or to my grocery store and just buy like mitarashi dango. I had a real obsession with mitarashi dango, especially.
We all had an obsession with something, I think. I'm not really. I think I miss a lot of things. I think the other night I was kind of looking for a grocery store that sold a lot of Japanese stuff that's delivering right now in COVID. And I was just going through, and it was just silly things like, you know, those the 2-minute noodles or whatever, but they were the curry cheese flavor, which is so bizarre. But for some reason I love them, and I saw it and I was like, why don't we have those? Or I agree. I think I very much miss the konbini, or being within like easy access to like Osaka, Kyoto, or even just looking like riding to school. That's something that I wish I'd done it for longer. Once I bought a car, I didn't do it as much. But I think just looking around and kind of in the back of my mind, always going, you know, today might be a bad day, but you're in Japan. So that's cool. Like, you know, knowing that every day was kind of an adventure in a different way. I think that sometimes being back, I really wish I could go back to that, where every day is different in a way that you could never predict, which is awesome. And I think I miss that. And I also, of course, I do miss teaching very much so, and all of my friends and stuff over there. It's kind of, it's hard to build a community and then leave it. Well,
no, that's kind of absolutely true.
Yeah.
Like even though it's the JET program, it is a temporary position. You don't stay on it forever, even though we are JETs forever in our heart. But you do, you entrench yourself into the community and the life and the friends that you make, and it's just like anywhere else. Leaving and saying goodbye, it's difficult.
It is. And I think that it's just in Japan, every day was an adventure. You know, I could hop in my car and, you know, go driving, and an hour later I was on like Awaji Island, and I could kind of go exploring, and that was exciting. You know, I think that I just miss kind of the sense of adventure. Yes. Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, that sense of adventure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that you could do that here. It's just not quite the same, or as easy, or as cheap.
Yeah, no, renting a car, because I didn't have a car, but renting a car in Japan was incredibly inexpensive, I found, especially if you had a few people together. Yeah. To be honest, I think it probably works out cheaper than owning the car sometimes.
Yeah, I was lucky. I had a friend, one of my coworkers actually was friends with a mechanic, and he got me a car for, I think, just over $2,500. And his name was Sherlock, my car, not my mechanic, but and we kind of went on adventures all over the place. I think a lot of my friends probably remember it. I'd just be like, get in, we're going on an adventure. And you know, we would just kind of go wherever the roads would take us. And I think that was really cool. It was finding something new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I had that experience as well, and that's obviously something that I missed, and that I really hope future JET participants are able to experience that sense of adventure and that journey that you can also have in Japan.
Sorry, you just
Oh,
fell.
we're falling.
Okay, sorry.
We're going for a tumble.
This is all
This
going
is a
well.
new kind of adventure.
You can adventure in Sydney
So, yeah.
and New South Wales too. Yeah,
That is
I
true.
hope so too. I hope so, Phil. I think that one of the big things about the JET program is it gives you the ability to kind of have the adventure of a lifetime. And that's the way I kind of saw it is, you know, you go and you become part of this amazing community and you meet all these amazing people and it becomes like your second home. But you have the opportunity to go and do so many things, amazing things that you wouldn't be able to do otherwise. And I think I'm always for promoting the JET program.
Yeah, well, you are the president of JETAA New South Wales for a reason.
My job. It's true.
So, yeah.
It's true.
Okay. Now, coming towards the end of our talk, do you have any advice as an alumni for JETs?
For like current JETs?
Non-JETs.
People in JET program? I honestly would say, like, I think that one of the things is, like, it's hard sometimes not to get bogged down in missing home and things like that. But I think that for me, honestly, one of the things that I started doing and I never regretted doing was basically just take advantage of every moment. Write a list of everything you want to do while you're in Japan and do it. Like, and I think that even 5 years is not that long a time. Like, if you have a decent list, you know, start doing it, and then also take those experiences and that enthusiasm for the travel and what you're learning and put it into your job, because people really appreciate that you have such a passion for that culture. And I think that makes a huge difference to how you're perceived or accepted in that community. So that would be my main thing. Do what you want to do and then take it and put it into your job, because people know that you're passionate about it. Like, a lot of my coworkers said, I didn't even know that place existed, because somehow we'd found it and we'd gone there and we'd done that. And I think once they understood that I really cared about what I was kind of like why I was there and what I was doing and about the culture and learning, that they started to kind of accept me, invite me to things and take me to festivals that I never would have found otherwise. And that would be honestly probably my biggest piece of advice. Yeah. Find what you love, do it, and then kind of teach people about it and make it something that, you know, you build a community off of. Yeah.
No, that's fantastic advice. Yeah. I give the same advice. That's perfect. But yeah, so just one last thing.
Yeah.
What are you doing now, post-JET?
Yeah, so it took me a little while. I think maybe even that was part of the reverse culture shock as well, was coming back and going, okay, that was my dream, now what? So I kind of thought for a while I'd be a teacher because I loved teaching. But then I worked out, I loved the teaching in Japan, but the part of the job that I loved was actually working with students. And because they were at an age where they were going into university, kind of like guiding them on that path and kind of like helping them to become kind of this sounds very, I was just doing my little bit, but, you know, helping them to become kind of like the best version of what they can be. And I think that I've taken that, and now I'm a student services coordinator for Boston University Study Abroad in Sydney, and it means that I get to do similar stuff, like let them live their best life in Sydney, and also look after them and make sure they're safe and they're well and they're healthy, but do the things that I loved about teaching in my career. And then I've also taken that, and now I'm working towards my master's in mental health practice as well, because I think that mental health is something that is very much and always will be something that's really important to kind of maintain for people. And I think that's something I'm very passionate about as well. So as a big part of my job, I do that with my students, and yeah, again, just making sure that they're happy and healthy, and if they're not, kind of guiding them through that, so that's what I do now.
Yeah, No, that's fantastic. I know that people from the JET program, they end up in all different fields and all different areas, and not all of them are teaching related. I know that a lot of people maybe feel that, you know, because most people go over as assistant language teachers, that when they come back, they probably go into education. But
not at all.
take people who, from any discipline, really, and the things that you learn on the JET program, you can bring back into any field.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, you know, even if you were just to look at our committee for the Alumni Association, we have people in advertising, people in IT, we do have teachers, we have, you know, people in similar areas to me with international education, people in kind of like tourism boards, you name it, we've got it. And that's the cool thing about the JET program is you go over and like 90% of us become teachers, and then other ones go work at Board of Educations or international organizations. But I think that, you know, the experiences that you get on JET are applicable to any career. You just have to learn how to appropriately to that career. And I think that that's something as an alumni association we can really help with. Like, we try and have you know, workshops afterwards for that, and I know that a lot of the other associations around the world have workshops that everyone can access regardless of, you know, where they're living or whatever, that are open to all JET alumni. And I think that that's an awesome thing about the JET program. Yes, you go over and you might be teaching or you might be doing something that's kind of very specific, but you can make it anything. You become, you know, you can adjust well, you can cross intercultural communication is really important. Like, it can be used for anything.
Yeah, no, that's a fantastic message, and I think I'm going to whoop, the internet was a little bit okay, no worries. I think we're going to leave it on that fantastic uplifting note that essentially you can take whatever you learn on JET and become anything you want to be afterwards.
Absolutely. And can I give a quick shout out? So that for JETAA New South Wales, things like that, at the moment we're doing a lot of COVID related stuff, which means that we are kind of doing a lot of online games days, you know, movie nights, things like that, but obviously on Zoom and whatnot. We do every Wednesday evening at 6:30. We do our Hump Day drinks, which is just on Zoom, and everyone is welcome, regardless of if you're a JET or not. I think, you know, we're very interested in joining with the Japanese community in New South Wales, or even outside that. We've had people come from all over the place to our Hump Days, even, you know, Guam and Singapore and all over the place.
Yeah, wow, that's fantastic.
So, and then one, you know.
Yeah, that's one benefit of.
Yeah, having it all online. No, that's okay. That's all good. And that's having it all online. We have a trivia night coming up. So what I would just say is, you know, join our Facebook page, check out what we do. You're always welcome to contact me through it. More than happy to chat about more what we do. But I think that, you know, we're just really interested in joining, you know, the JET community, but as well as the Japanese community in New South Wales. We love working with people in AJS and whoever else is interested in working with us.
No, that's fantastic. So to find your Facebook page, do people just type in JETAA New South Wales in the search bar and you'll pop up?
Yes, absolutely. Just type in JETAA New South Wales in the search bar, and we'll be there waiting for you.
We'll be there. Easy as that.
We'll be there. We also have a website as well, so you can check out the website as well.
Yeah, so that's just the same thing into the Google search or whatever search engine you're using, JETAA New South Wales, and we're there.
Yes.
Fantastic. All right. Thank you so much for joining me today, Ash. It was awesome getting to talk a little bit more about like your experience on JET. I know that we don't sometimes necessarily talk that much about it. We're normally doing work stuff, but
yes.
But yeah, I learned a lot of fantastic things. And I hope that the people watching and also our future audience, especially those who are interested in the JET program, find this very useful information as well.
I hope so. Do the JET program.
Do the JET program. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Ash.
Thanks, Jess.
I'll catch you next time, maybe at the Hump Day Drinks on the Wednesday on Zoom.
See you on Wednesday.
Wonderful. Thank you.
See you later. Bye.
Bye. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Ash, once again for joining. I hope you all found that as interesting as I did. And I'm going to call that a wrap for our second ever J-Syd InstaLive video series. So our next episode will be happening on the August 14th. Stay tuned for that one and the news that will be coming up on our Instagram and our Facebook profiles as well for who our next wonderful guest is going to be. All right. See you next time.